Good day, everyone. Welcome to part 5 of the basics of Unreal Engine 4 modding. In today's episode, we will be going over audio file types. These are file types like sound waves, sound classes, and sound cues. In a moment, we will discuss when and why to mod these certain file types. But first, as always, let's start off by opening the folders and the tools that we will need to mod Unreal Engine 4 games. In today's video, we will need 4 tools. The Unreal Mod Unlocker to unlock our game to allow mods to load. We will need Unreal Engine 4 Editor. We will need UModel, and last but not least, we will need a new tool here on the channel called fModel. And then of course you want to open up all of the folders that we will need when we are modding our game. And that will be things like the project folder for the Unreal Engine 4 project that you are working on. You will need to open up your game's content or packs folder, or your game's folders, I guess. Yeah, open up the UModel folder and the fModel folder so you have everything ready. Right, let's get started. Alright, so let's get started with the intro part of the video here, where we go over what it is that we are going to do and why you mod certain file types. Alright, so today we are going to mod audio file types. And as I said before, that's things like sound waves, sound cues, and sound classes. Now, when do you mod a sound wave? And what is a sound wave? A sound wave is an actual audio file. It is an imported file. It can be a wave file. It can be an imported .ogg that that your game uses for the audio, for like a sound effect or a song or something like that. And when do you want to mod this? When should you mod a sound wave file? Well, you mod the sound wave when you need to or you want to rely on the existing sound cue. So you can think of this like with a material or a texture. The texture, I guess. The texture, you mod it when you want to rely on a material, right? But the sound wave is what you mod when you want to rely on the sound cue. So a sound cue is like a material in a way, because a material, it loads the texture into the world, onto the mesh, right? And then the sound cue, it loads the sound waves and sets things like different properties to the audio, volume, if it's pitch modulation and stuff like that. You can set a lot of properties inside of sound cues. So it's a lot like a material, but for audio. Right. So once again, you mod a sound wave when you want to or need to sometimes rely on existing sound cues. Okay, so when do you mod a sound cue then? Well, that is when you don't want to rely on already existing sound cues. So if there is a sound cue that does something, for instance, that you don't agree with, you want to change something, that's when you change the sound cue. Let's say a sound cue has a lot of different files in it that are put in random order, but you like the game to play the same song over and over, right? And then you would change the sound cue and just put one song in it, and the game would just repeat the same song. Something like that is where you could use where you could mod a sound cue. Okay, so how about a sound class? So when do you mod a sound class? Now, sound class modding, it's a little bit above, I would say, the basics of Unreal Engine 4 modding, but we will go over it in this video because some basic things, some things you just need to know, even though they are a little bit more difficult. Sound classes is one of those things that I think you need to know early on, and so I will cover that in this video, even though I would say this is an advanced topic. But I will cover it. It's rather simple when you understand how it all works and how you're, because what you will need to learn in this video is how to reverse engineer sound classes. And by that I mean fully reverse engineer the functionality of somebody's sound class so that you can recreate that in Unreal Engine. And I mean, what you can do, the simplest way that you can use is to reference a sound class. But if you're just referencing the sound class, you're not actually modding a sound class. And it's because I want to show you how to mod a sound class, we will need to learn how to reverse engineer a sound class. So I will show you that in this video. Right, and when do you use that? Well, you mod sound classes when you want to change the overall behavior of the game's audio in groups that work under sound classes. So, like, sometimes there's a bunch of sound cues or sound waves that are played under a sound class. You know, the wave that uses a sound, the sound cue uses a sound class to determine things like volume or pitch or a lot of different things, sound mixing. And when you, instead of changing that individually in every single, um, for every single file, you make a class that everything uses, and the class just decides everything for a bunch of files. And it makes it simpler for the developers to do things, and it makes it simpler for us to do things as well. So I will show you how to do that. All right, so now that I've gone over the three different types here and explained the file types and why and when we mod them, let's actually get started with the tutorial part of this video. So first, you will need a few tools. You will need to open up uh, the Unreal Engine 4 editor, and you won't have this, but let me just show you here what we're going to do today. We're going to reverse engineer all of these sound classes and the sound mixes, and we're going to make a sound cue, and we're going to make some audio files here. So, but let's get rid of this folder right here because we don't need it right now. And so we're going to need a few tools. We're going to need fmodel, and we're going to need umodel. And since you already know how to use umodel from previous tutorials, I won't show you how to use that. So basically, today we will use umodel to extract files. We won't use it to actually find files and file types and stuff, but we will use it to extract files and get the audio so we can listen to it and know what we're dealing with. But yeah, the main tool today is going to be fmodel. So start up fmodel, and if you get this message that the latest version, the stable version, is 4.2.0, and that you're using, version 4.2.2, do you want to downgrade? Just click no. You don't need to. And now you want to do a few things. First of all, go to settings and set the UE versions to the version of your game. So if it's like 4.25, 4.27, 5 or whatever version, set it to the one that your game's on. So I'm going to set it to 4.27. And then you need to go to directory, and you need to click here. So there's a few things here. You can just, what you can do is just click here and find your packs folder in your game. Select it and just hit OK. When you've done that, you'll probably get, so I'm going to just copy this key for now, but you'll probably get this message if you try to load something. An encrypted archive has been found. In order to decrypt it, please specify a working AES encryption key. So all you need to do then is input the AES key in here in the main static key, hit OK, and then you set the loading mode to multiple and then just double click the pack. All right, now you're inside of the pack. Go to the project name here and go to content, and then you want to find audio files, and usually you'll see things like this, like an audio thing. You'll see things like this that kind of tell you what's inside of folders, but you won't always have that, so you're going to have to look. But for the game that I'm modding, the files are going to be in the audio folder. So we're going to go to audio. We're going to go to sound cues and on foot. So the first type that we're going to mod is going to be a sound wave. And a sound wave, as I've said before, is just the actual audio that's playing. It's the sound file, like an MP3 or an OGG or whatever. So now, how do you know if it's a sound wave? Like, how do you actually know? Well, there are a few ways you can know. Usually there is a naming convention like this, where it's like wave, WAV, wave. That's for sound wave. An SCU, that's a sound cue, right? But if you don't have that luxury, what do you do? Well, you can find the audio folder, right? And then you can use, this is what fmodel is so good for. You can double click any of these U assets, and you can see here the type at the top, type sound cue, and you get this decompilation of the actor. Pretty cool, huh? We're gonna abuse the shit out of this later, but for now we just want to find a sound wave. So we're gonna go to character jump 1, and right here, sound wave. All right, so what we want to do is we want to export this. Now, you can export songs, longer sound waves, like OGGs. You can export those with fmodel, but shorter sounds, like sound effects and stuff, for some reason, it just says save texture and you can't actually save it. And if you export raw data, you just get the file package, like the U asset. So what you have to do is, when we know that we have the sound wave that we want to mod here, you open up UE viewer or U model instead, and you go to the same path. So we're gonna go to content, audio, sound cues on foot. So we're gonna go to game, which is content, as we know, audio, sound cues on foot. Now we want to go down to character jump 1 and hit export. Right. So when you export, you're going to get this folder in the UModel folder. It's going to say UModel export. You can open it up, and we can go into the sound cues folder on foot, and we're going to have this right here. And this is just the OGG for the that audio for the sound. So what we can do is we can right click, we can open with Groove Music, and we can play it, and that's the sound. Alright, so let's mod this. Now, how do you mod this? Well, you can either edit that file using something like Audacity and make changes to it, whatever, make your own kind of style, or we can actually just take a whole new file. So let me drag this file from here, jump sound effect, no copyright. And if I play that, oh my god. Okay. So that's the sound, right? And so what we want to do is to mod a sound wave, all you have to do is replace it. Right. So let's open up our project and let's recreate the path. That's the fun part. So the path is going to be game, audio, sound cues on foot. So what we can do is we're already in game content. Game and content is the same. So we're just going to make audio and then sound cues. So sound cues and then on foot, and then we have the sound. All right. So let's just go into on foot. Let's drag and drop our new fresh sound in here, and let's give it the name of the original file that we are replacing. So let's click here and let's do rename. I've never actually done it this way, but there we go. Rename. I think you can just do F7, right? Or what's the command? Is it F2? Oh yeah, F2 and you can rename. But now that we have the same name, but we have this new sound, that is actually all we need to do. And we go up here, so we're going to go to File, we're going to go to Cook Content, and we are going to cook this. All right. So down here, I already have an audio folder because I've been testing some mods, but so now you want to go to your cooked folder. You want to find the content and then audio, and audio should contain our mod. Right. So just copy, Control C, Control V to paste. Paste in the audio folder here with our mod, and run the game. Now make sure you have the Unreal Mod Unlocker installed so that the game can actually load this file. Okay, so let's test this. Let's just make sure that there is no audio for the music. Yep, let's just make sure we have it in streamer mode just in case. Now, if we listen carefully, did you hear that? So, as you can tell, it's very quiet, and it only seems to happen every other time. So, the reason it's happening every other time is because there's two different sounds for jumping. So, listen when I jump now. You can hear him jumping normally, and now you hear the boink, normal jump, boink. That's because it's going through a random node, a randomizer sound cue node, and they haven't set random to be actually random. It's just gonna alternate. So it's working. So now, right now, we're using the default behavior of the sound cue that they made, which is that they have two sounds, two jump sounds, and the sound cue is just alternating between the two audio files, the sound waves. All right. So now this is pretty, it's pretty uninteresting stuff, and we can get a much better result doing sound cue modding. So let's get into that part of the tutorial. All right, so let's get on to the next step here, which is sound cues. So modding sound cues. How do you do it? Well, first of all, we now know that this wave sound plays when we jump. Okay, But what if we want to add multiple jumping sounds? What if we want to add more jumping sounds to the game? We want them to be louder, things like that. How would we do that? Well, it's pretty simple. So what we want to figure out is what sound cue will play this sound wave, character jump 0, 1. So we can use naming conventions, folders, and things. We can use all these things to figure it out. You know, looking at this says wave character jump 0, 1, and this says sound cue SCU character jump. So most likely, this sound cue is going to play this sound. Let's make sure though. So let's double click it. And so as we can see, this is a sound cue and is called SCU character jump. Right. So let's figure out if wave character jump is inside of this. How do we do that? Well, you click somewhere. Click at the top here. And then what you want to do is you want to click Control F on your keyboard to bring up the search in Fmodel. So now we are just going to type wave, and then the underscore like that. Sorry, give me a second here. Right. So we're going to type that, and we're going to hit enter. And, oh, look at that. First result. Character, so wav, character, jump, 0, 1. There we go. If we click on that, it'll take us into the file. So we are in this file now. You see if I double click it, we're still in that. So, well, now we have two of the same. But as you can see, SCU character jump does indeed load wave character jump 1. So, if we want to mod jumping in this game, if we want the jumping audio to be different, what we want to mod is SCU character jump. Right. Now, how do we do that? Well, of course, we want a sound, and then we want a sound cue. So let's make that. So let's go into Unreal Engine Editor, and in On Foot, where we have this, what we are going to do is we are going to right-click on this right here, right-click it, and we are going to click Create Cue, just like that. Now, if we open this, you can see here that the sound wave is connected to the output audio here. So this audio is going to play into the output into your headphones, just like that, when you jump in game. But of course, we need this to have the same name. Good God, people are contacting me. We need this to have the same name as, let me just check. All right, as this. So SCU character jump, the sound cue. So let's copy that name. And let's give that name to our sound cue. Now, because we have a sound cue that plays this audio, we don't actually need this to have this name anymore. So we can call it mod wave. And we can even make our own folder and call it mod sounds. And then we can just drag this mod sound, move it in there, like that. And then if we open this up now, it's going to say mod wave character jump. And if we play it, it still plays. Right. So now what we have here is we have the sound cue with the proper name in the proper path. All right. So when the game tries to load this sound, it's going to play that, and it's going to grab the audio from this location, So now, because we have control over the sound cue, we can then bring in audio from anywhere, any folder. We can even be out here in any of these folders. It doesn't matter. As long as we bring these files that we need into the folders, into the game folders later, it'll play. But we'll try to stick to keeping, in the folders here. So, so let's test this. So what we're gonna do is, now that we have control over the sound cue, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set this multiplier. I'm gonna set that to 1. You can hear that? It's quite a bit louder. So if we put it to half and 25%, if we put that to 1, because as you remember, the audio was pretty quiet last time. So I'm just going to put that down, or put it up to 1, save, and we're going to hit save all, and we're going to cook this content. So now we have our first modded sound cue. And of course, we just created a sound cue, but we're forcing the game to load it. So let's grab the sound cue here. Let's grab the audio folder, and let's delete the one that we put into the game before and copy the new one. Let's just make sure that things are proper. SCU character jump, right? And then we have our mod sound here. Okay, so let's load this up and let's see if the game will load this audio when we jump. Now, if we did this properly, it should play every time, because as you remember, it only played every other time before because it had a randomize on 2 different sounds, jump 1 and jump 2. So it only played every other time, but now it should play every time. And it does. And as you can hear, it's much louder. Alright, so now that this plays here, right? What more can we do? Well, now that we know how to mod sound cues and make sound cues, and of course I'm only showing you the very basics of how to do this, and if you want to get really good at sound cues, you can, or sound in general in Unreal Engine, look up sound cues and how to work with sound cues in Unreal Engine. There is tutorials on YouTube, so look them up. Now, if I go in here to the options and I go to audio, and let's say we put the sound volume down to 0, and let's jump. As you can tell here, it's still playing. Now, no other sounds are playing. When I'm running, when I get on the board, when I do a trick, it doesn't play any sounds, but it does play our jumping sound. And that is because we haven't yet referenced our sound class. Okay, so sound classes. Now, sound classes are special because a sound class, it's not really a step above a sound cue, like, a sound wave, that's kind of the bottom tier, and a sound cue, of course, a sound cue is a step above a sound wave. But a sound class, it is kind of like a companion to a sound cue or to sounds. That's the best way I would explain it. I would say that it's a companion to sound cues, and they dictate, um, you know, every sound cue that uses a sound class will have the same attributes or properties already kind of set through the sound class, making it easier to have 100 different sound cues have a lot of the same properties without having to set those manually or whatever. So it's not really a step above, but it's a kind of a side Yeah, that's like a sidekick. So how do you mod them? Well, you when you mod sound classes, um, it's because the game needs to load the sound class, right? And so the game and then a game, the way a game works is that a sound class, there are properties in there that you can reach from a blueprint and change, like volume and things. And for all of that to work, you need to have all of that intact. So you can't just create your own sound class and just expect it to work. Um, and you can't really do that with a sound cue either. You can, but you shouldn't. But it's not really that big of a deal with a sound cue. But with a sound class, most games use a sound class to control a lot of things in the audio, and so you should learn how to reverse engineer sound classes. So I will show you how to reverse engineer a sound class. And really what we're doing is we are reverse engineering an actor, a blueprint actor. So, but yeah, so let's get started. So let's go back here into fmodel, and I'm already in the sound classes here. But as we know, our sound cue here, if we want to reverse engineer a sound class, we have to find the sound class. So we have to go into our sound cue, character jump, and we have to check here what class does it use. So check here under sound class object, and you'll see it uses the sound class S&D class foo steps. Now that's probably supposed to be footsteps, but so let's call it that, but S&D footsteps. Okay. Now sound classes can have children, and they usually do. There's usually a bunch of children to a sound class, and in this case that is the case. And how do we know? Well, if you click on this sound class like that, you will actually see this sound class, S&D class, SFX. That is the parent class. So now that we are inside of footsteps class, the parent class of this is sound class, sound effects. And if we go to sound class, sound effects, that has a bunch of children. It has a sound mix modifier here, and it has a parent as well, which is sound class master. Okay, so the last part, what we're going to do here is we are actually going to reverse engineer uh, all of these sound classes, every single one of these. So this, all of these, even the sound mix, the master. Let's go to master, by the way. So if we go to master, you can see there is sound class music, sound class SFX, and sound class ambiances. And these are child classes. They're children of master. And then, of course, the sound mix that this uses is sound mix default. It has some properties. So every single one of these things we will reverse engineer, and we will recreate these one-to-one perfectly. How do you do that? How do you recreate classes, or how do you recreate actors that you can see like this? How do you recreate these things inside of Unreal Engine? Well, it's not as hard as you would think. So let me show you how to do it. So let's just start with one of these sound classes. So let's open up Unreal Engine. Let's put these side by side, and let's first of all, let's go to one of these sound classes. Where are the sound classes located? Sound classes, they're in audio, so content, audio, sound classes. So let's go to audio. Let's go to sound classes, and here we have all sound classes and 2 sound mixes. So all of these we will reverse engineer and make perfect copies of. So we will recreate the source of these inside of here. So let's start by making the sound classes folder. So let's do that now. Sound classes. Okay. In sound classes, we will start by making individual sound classes for each one of these. So to make a sound class, you right click, you go to sounds, and you go to classes, and you go to sound class. Now I'm going to start from the top and do sound class underscore, and then that is called ambiances, ambiances day. Sound class, S&D class, ambiances day. Let's save that. Let's make the next one. And do not copy these. Just make them one by one, because the parenting can get fucked up and there's some weird stuff that I've noticed with it. So do them one by one. Sound class underscore ambiances, and then night. Ambiances, night. Good. Next one. Sound class ambiances. Okay, so S&D class ambiances. All right, let's go to the next one. Sound class S&D class enviro sounds. And let's create the next one. S&D class flip tricks board, and that's it. Flip tricks board. Let's create another one. S&D class foo steps. And let's just keep going. S&D class grinds. Oh, I guess foot and board is actually this one, so we're going to do foot and board. Let's go to the next one. S&D class grinds. S&D class master. Like that. S&D class music. S&D class push rolling. And let's see, and then S&D class SFX. And then we'll do S&D class skate rolling. So we have push rolling and skate rolling. So now we have all classes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you have 13 classes. Amazing. So let's just make sure that these things are spelled correctly. And it does look like they are. Right. So now what we'll do is we'll make sound mixes. And sound mixes, if we go to something like in here, and we look at sound mix, submix object, we'll see SS mix, SFX skate. Now, that is the sound submix. We don't need that. Sorry, we need to go into footsteps again. We need to go to a sound class. Here we go. So this is what we need. Sound mix. So we need a sound mix, S&D mix skate. So we need to recreate this, and that is a passive sound mix modifier. So we're going to right click, we're going to go to mix, and I'm thinking, is it a submix? I don't think it is. Effects, analysis, classes, sound class mix. Pretty sure that's what we need, a sound class mix. It says here a sound mix, but if we go into this, let's see, type sound mix. I'm pretty sure that a sound class mix is just a sound mix. So we are going to call this S&D mix skate. Like that. And then we are going to create, so let's do this. And let's create another one, classes sound class mix. And we will call the last one, so we already have this now. We're going to need S&D mix default. S&D mix, sorry, and then default. So now we have all classes and sound class mixes. Okay, now these are all going to be empty, but we will fix that. So how do we fix that? Well, start off by going into the first sound class and double click it, and you will get this. So what does this do? Well, it's a sound class, and it has this name, and it has these properties. Well, as we can see, the only property it has is that it is of the class. The parent class is S&D class ambiances. Okay, so that is not something we need to think about. We think about that when we get to this. So let's get to the next one. And it's the same thing. The only thing here, the only property is that there is a parent class, and it's the ambiances class. So let's go to the next one, ambiances. Okay, so here we have some properties. Here we have some things. So what do we have? Well, under properties, we have volume right here, right? And we have child classes, and we have the parent class. Now, as I said before, parent classes, that is not something we think about because, that happens automatically when we set a child class further on in this file. So, but let's start with the volume. So let's go to S&D class ambiances right here. So here we have sound class ambiances. And what we need to do is we need to set volume to 1.25. So let's start by doing that. 1.25. Save it. Okay, so that's the only thing that's been changed. And then we have 3 child classes. So let's go to child classes right here. Click 1, 2, 3. The first one is ambiances night. So we're going to go and click on ambiances night. And as you can see, that created this ambiances night as a child of ambiances. So let's go, and the next one is ambiances day. So we'll add ambiances day right here. The next one is going to be enviro sounds. Okay, let's save this and let's pull these all out like that. So let's put them in the order we see them right here. So ambiances night, ambiances day, and enviro sounds. So now we have a parent class and 3 child classes. Okay, Great. So let's go on to the next part. Now we have volume set, 125, and we have all the 3 child classes, and that's it. Parent class, that is what we're setting right here. When we set these 3 as children to this, these automatically get this set as the parent class. So you don't need to worry about parent class. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Enviro sounds. So Enviro sounds has 1.5 volume, and that's it. That's the only thing it has. So we will go to Enviro sounds, and let's do that in here. Enviro sounds, and as you can see, it's already because this is a child of this. When we open this, we open this. It's just the way this editor works. It makes sense if you think about it. But yeah, as long as you double-click to Enviro sounds, you know you're in the right place. This is what we need to change. So 1.5. 1.5 is the volume, which we can see here. So in Enviro sounds, we put this volume, 1.5. Now let's go to Fliptrix. Fliptrix board, 2.0 volume, and that's the only thing we can see. So Fliptrix board, so let's go out. Let's go to, I'm just going to save all. Fliptrix board. Okay, Fliptrix board has volume 2.0. So let's set 2.0. That's all there is. So let's get out of here. 2.0, and we set 2.0. Let's go to footsteps, which is the next one. Okay, in footsteps, so you can see here in so in footsteps right here, we can see 1.75 is the volume. So we set 1.75, just like that, and that's it. Hit save, go out. Let's go to foot and board. Foot and board. There we go. 135 volume. 1.30. Sorry. 1.35. Oh, 1.35. Save it, and that's it. All the rest is just a parent class. So let's go to grinds. Oops. Okay, so let's go into grinds. In grinds, all there is volume 2.6. So we will set 2.6 volume. Okay, there's nothing else, just a parent class. Let's go to master. Master. Okay, here we have a little bit more stuff. So what do we do here? Well, we can see here under properties we have child classes and passive sound mix modifiers. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, first we set the child classes, and the 3 child classes are sound class music, sound class sound effects, and sound class ambiances. So we're going to go in here in master, and we are going to make 1, 2, 3 different child classes, and we're going to make the first one music, the next one, and might as well do this. Click back, make sure you click back on master, and then SFX. So let's add sound effects like that. Go back into master, and then ambiances. Ambiances like that. And there we go. So now you can see it keeps building by itself when we do this. It's very nice. So because these are children of ambiances, and ambiances is a child of master, you're going to have the whole graph laid out in the end here. Okay, so now that we have the child classes, now that this is done, let's go to passive sound mix modifiers. And in there we have sound mix default and 2 properties set here. So passive sound mix modifier, you can see that right here. Click 1, because that's all there is. Click down here, and then add sound class mix, add default, so we see here the default one, and then min volume threshold is 0 and max volume threshold is 10, which is default. So just save, and that's it. Now we have this reverse engineered, and we have the the perfect source for the master, basically. So now, let's go to music. So let's click in, and while we're out here, let's save. Let's go to music here. So now that we have music right here, let's reverse this. So we can see here under properties, we have properties, and then we have some settings. B always play, true, and B is music, true. Now, always play is something that's publicly available in this graph right here, but some things you need to set in here in property matrix. So open up the property matrix, click on this, and go to general, and go to the properties, and if you look here, you will see be always play, always play. You can set that to true, and be is music, true. So is music, true. Go to file, hit save, and you can get rid of that and save here. So now we are back into music. Let's click on this music node right here. And you can see it says always play, and we know that we set is music in the property matrix. So let's go on to the next step. Passive sound mix modifiers. Sound mix, null, and then these two standard settings from before. So passive sound mix modifier. Add 1, have it none. That's why it says null, there's nothing in here. 0, 0, and then 10 and 10. So these are just, it's an empty slot for a sound mix. Save that. Now that's all we have in here. The rest is just a parent class. So let's get out of here and let's save all, and let's go to the next one, which is push rolling. Let's go to push rolling, and in here we have a property which is volume 1.5. So 1.5, save, and that's it. Let's go to the next one. S&D class SFX. Okay. So here we have sound class SFX, which has, so let's go to SFX right here. Now this is a little bit bigger. So let's make some room here. Something like this. Let's move these around a little bit. Let's click on the SFX. Right, so the sound class SFX has 0.65 standard volume here. And that's the only thing up here. Now we need to go to child classes. And then there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different child classes. So let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. First one is grinds. So let's select grinds. Next one, so what we can do is this, set them in order, go back to here. Next one is skate rolling. Skate rolling. Put that right there and go back into the sound class. Next one is flip tricks, board, and that's right here. Let's put that right there and go back into the sound class. Click on it, foot and board. Foot and board. There we go. And then none, let's see, this one is footsteps, foo steps. So let's have that right there. Let's go back. And the last one is push rolling. Push rolling. So there we go. Now we have these just like that. So let's save this for now. So now we have volume. Let's go back into SFX. Now we have the volume set. We have all 6 sound classes set up like that. Passive sound mix modifier is the next one. So create one right here and select the skate S&D mix skate sound class, or sound mix, sorry. And then 0 and 10 for min and max. 0 and 10 is default, so let's just leave it like that. And then we have the parent class. So now we are done with SFX. Okay, let's click down, let's save all, And let's go to skate rolling. Okay, skate rolling 1.15. 1.15. Let's hit save. And if we look at this now, you can see here the parents that we saw before. If I open something up, if I open the skate rolling up, it already has the parent right here. So, and then that has the parent master. So we will basically be opening up master with all of its children. And so we already have the parents. So now everything is set up the way it should be. Pretty sure. So if we look at these, ambience is day, yeah. So all of this looks proper. So let's go to the next, which is the sound mix. So let's open up the sound mix, and in here we will open up sound mix default. Now in the sound mix we will have a few things, and don't look at this and think, holy shit, that's a lot of stuff. No, it's not. Now this is a sound class effect, and the sound class effect is, let's see, it's this right here. So what we need to do is create a, under properties, a sound class effect. Sound class effect. You can see it right here. Click on it. And that will create 6 members, right? And these 6 members are the sound class, volume adjuster, pitch adjuster, low pass filter, apply to children, and voice center channel volume adjuster. Now if we look in here, in our first sound class effect, we see sound class object, which is this one. We see, and you see this is the whole sound class object here. And then we see volume adjuster, pitch adjuster, low pass filter, apply to children, and voice center. So all of this stuff that's in the first one. Right. So we are going to set those to the same values that we see in here. So the first one is the sound class object, the sound class. Set that to master, which you can see right here. So we will set that to master. First volume adjuster is 1, so we will keep that at 1. Pitch adjuster is 1, keep it at 1. 20,000 on low pass filter, and then true on apply to children. So we will have to check this box, true, and then 1.0 in voice center channel, and that's already set. So now we will create the next one, which is the next sound class object right here. And that's sound class music. So we will select sound class music. I'll save for now. In sound class music, there is a volume adjuster that's default, 1, 1, 20,000, true, and 1. So all the same as the top one. So all we need to do is click on apply to children. Now let's create another one, the last one. And that is sound class sound effects. There's the last sound class object. So let's click on it. Let's go down to SFX. And let's see here. The settings are 1, 1, 20,000, true, and 1. So we just need to click on that and we are done. So that's it. Now we have the first sound mix perfectly, entirely reverse engineered. So let's go to the next thing, which is sound mix skate. Boom. Here we go. It's a little bit bigger, but it's all just the same stuff. Just keep doing the same stuff and you will have the source to these things. Okay, the first sound mix. The name S&D Mix Skate, which is what we're in. And then we see here in properties, there's EQ settings. So EQ settings right here. Now, what we will need to do is we will need to set some of these settings. So frequency center 0. You can see right here, frequency center 0. That's 200. So we set that to 200. Then we will just copy these one by one. So gain 0. Hit enter. We just copy these. Bandwidth 0, that's bandwidth 0. See here. Frequency center 1. Frequency center 1. Let's go to gain 1. Gain is 0. Bandwidth 1 is 0.8. So bandwidth 1. Okay, and then you see it says frequency center 3. Why does it do that? Well, that's because they never changed frequency center 2, gain 2, or bandwidth 2. So there's no changes made to any of these right here. So we can just keep going on to the third one. So let's copy 4000 to frequency center 3. Let's copy this value, gain 3. And let's copy bandwidth 3. Just like that. Save that. Now we have all of this set up. All right. So let's go to the sound class effect. Right. So sound class effect. How many are there? Well, there is one sound class object, 2, 3. So master, music, and SFX. So we will create 1, 2, and 3. Just like this. And now we will do what we did before, and we will set these one by one. So let's start at the first sound class object right here, which is master. So let's go down to master. Let's set that. 1, 1, 20,000, true, and 1. 1, 1, 20,000, true, and 1. Okay, so all of these are set. Let's go to the next one. That's sound class music. So let's select sound class music. And under sound class music, it's 1, 1, 20,000, true, and 1. So 1, 1, 20,000, true, so we change it, and 1. Let's go on to the last one, and that is sound class SFX. So let's select that right here, sound class SFX. And that's going to be 1, 1, 8,000, true, and 1. So 1, 1, 8,000, true, and 1. So now we have set up all of this. We have recreated everything in this sound mix. So we're going to hit save. We're going to go out and hit save all, save current. Now, if I'm correct here, we should have everything set up. And we do. So now we have all of these classes and the sound mixes reverse engineered completely, so they're source accurate. What do we need to do then? Well, then we need to go back into the sound cue that we worked in before, character jump. So how is it set up in here? Well, here it uses sound class footsteps right here. So what we will do is we will go back out into sound cues on foot. We will go into this sound cue, and we will set the sound class right here. We will set that to S&D class footsteps, like it's set up right here. Okay, so now this sound class will use, this sound cue will use this sound class to determine the audio, how the audio is played, and you know, all the volume and pitch and all that was set in the sound classes. So now that we have all of this set up and we have the sound cue using the sound class, now what we should be able to do is just save all of this and go to File, Cook Content for Windows, and let's go out here And let's go to the games content folder and let's get rid of the old audio mod here. Let's wait for this to cook properly. There we go. And then we are just going to copy the whole folder over. So now, in here we have all these sound classes. You're not referencing these anymore? Well, you are, but you have all of these recreated, so you don't need to remove these to reference them. You already have them working the way they should. So you can keep these in here. And then the sound cue will use our mod sound, and then it will use the class to set the volume properties and whatever properties that you need to, use the sound the way it should be used in the game. So let's start the game, and let's see if we can hear the sound of our jumping, and let's see if we can actually jump. Oh, sorry. I actually disconnected my controller before. Let's see here. I'm just going to hook it up, and I'm not sure if this will work. I may have to restart the game. There we go. Okay. So, let's see, the moment of truth here. Did we perfectly recreate the class? Oh, nothing. You know why it's nothing? Because it all works. If we go to audio, as you remember, I set the sound volume all the way down. Now let's set it all the way up and jump. And there we go. Our game is now setting, in the settings, it's setting the sound class volume. And the sound class volume is then used by our sound cue, which then sets the volume of the sound to nothing. So now we can use the in-game settings, and if we want, we can modify and do all the changes we want in the sound class and in the sound cue and have full control over them. Pretty awesome, huh? So, just to show you that we can add something to this, I'm going to copy this. So we have a second audio file. Oh, sorry. Right here. So let's save. So let's go in to our sound cue right here. And let's drag the second jump sound. So let's just go into our sound wave, and I'm going to set the pitch to 0.5 and save it. And if we play this, it sounds like that. Okay? And the normal one sounds like that. Let's save that and go out. And inside of our sound cue, SCU character jump, we can do this. We can do random, and then we can plug these in just like that, and then plug the output into this output. And now, when we play this cue, you hear that? That's it randomizing the sounds. Now, the reason it happens every other time instead of random, really random, is because of this setting, randomize without replacement. So uncheck that. Oh, wow, 5 in a row. So let's go out and let's save all, and let's cook this, and let's copy this over, and let's see if we can get some new sounds in the game here in our sound cue. This is going to be interesting. So let's get rid of the audio folder. Let's copy the one we just cooked. And let's see if this works. Just having some tea to celebrate. Okay. So let's see. So this is audio modding 101. This is the basics of sound modding. Now I know that sound classes isn't that basic, but if you can just read this output and recreate what you see in the editor, then you're good to go. If you can just do that, you will be good to go to recreate like a whole sound system. You can recreate blueprints. You can recreate a lot of things using this output here. So it's like a blueprint decompiler. All right. Now that you know how to do sound classes as well, how to reverse engineer them, and how to use the sound class in the sound cue that I showed you there at the end. Now that you know all that, I think that's it for today. That's it for sound modding. And in the next video, I will be going over static meshes and skeletal meshes. So you have that to look forward to.